All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Heminger. I'm the president of the NAACP Arlington branch. Today is February 27th, and this is the February general membership meeting of our branch. I'd like to start us off with a moment of the opening prayer. So first VP or second VP, could I call on you just to do a quick prayer for the branch?
I can lead. All right. Everyone, please bow your heads. Dear Father God, we come to you humbly as we know how to ask for your blessing over this meeting and those in attendance. We thank you for your awful mercy and grateful for all the things you've done for us in the past, today, and the future. We thank you, Father God, for the wisdom you bestow upon us in our work and our comings and goings. And we ask you for strength and peace as we try to be servants in your will and make earth as it is in heaven. Thank you, God, for all that you continue to do for us and those in our community. And we strive to be representations of the world that you seek to establish. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. We have President Michael Heminger, who is present. First Vice President James Younger.
Present.
Second Vice President Brian Coleman.
Present.
Third Vice President Laurel Langhorne.
Present.
Treasurer Adriana Spain.
Present.
Assistant Treasurer Kenya Pennington.
Present.
I'm Secretary Wanda Younger, present. Assistant Secretary Kathleen McSweeney.
Present.
Executive Committee at Large Karen Nightingale.
Present.
Executive Committee at Large Kellen McBeth. Executive Committee at Large Nadia Conyers. Communications Leah Matterall. Criminal Justice Heather Kelly. Economic Development and Labor Megan Brew.
Here.
Education Tia Alfred. Housing Vice Chair Wells Harrell. Political Action Jan Marie Pena.
Present.
Religious Affairs Rosa Dunkley. Scholarship Adora Williams. That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. There is a standard agenda that most branches follow. However, we have a different agenda that we'd like the branch to do to kind of make our meeting our own. So I'd like to seek a motion to suspend the rules.
I move that we suspend the rules.
Thank you, Madam Assistant Secretary. Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
Thank you, First VP. All right, great. So now we can actually jump right into it. I'd like to recognize Madam Treasurer, if you could present the financial report, and then Madam Assistant Treasurer, I'd love for you to run through the annual financial audit.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is the monthly report for January. We had in revenue $1,551.71 and $872.26 in expenses. And that leaves our balances for savings at $320 and $341.39. And our checking balance at $30,331.62. And that is the treasurer's report for January. Thank you.
No, thank you. Any questions or discussion on the financial report for January? Any questions or discussions on the financial report? Okay, great. Is there a motion to approve the report as presented by the treasurer?
I would like to move that we approve the report as presented by the treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Assistant Secretary. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any objections to the financial report as presented? Okay, great. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move us along to Madam Assistant Treasurer. Could you please present your findings on the annual financial audit?
Okay. So on an audit committee comprised of myself, Kellen Macbeth, and Lily Mencia, we were able to audit the financial reports of the branch, which comprised of monthly account statements from the Arlington Community Federal Credit Union, or AACFCU, for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022. That included monthly transaction reports and the 2022 approved budget provided by Treasurer Staten. So on January 1, the initial balances were $181,841.39 in our business savings account and $20,708.17 in our business rewards checking account, for a combined total of $202,549.56. And then as of December 31, our ending balance in our business savings account amounted to $320,341.39. And the ending balance in our business rewards checking account was $29,652.17 for a combined total of $300,049,993.56. And so we found that the ACFCU statements were generally in agreement or reconciled with our monthly treasury reports and our unit records, and that our cash balances reflected in the transaction reports are consistent with and documented by the monthly account balances of the ACFCU. Though we noticed that the lack of centralized access to the necessary audit materials led to sort of a less thorough audit of our branch finances, and we were not able to access the checks to verify the recipients of the checks match with the monthly treasury reports. There's a lot. So we made quite a few suggestions to the executive committee as an audit committee, and those included to minimize our audit risk, adhering to the guidelines and the NAACP National Office Unit and Financial Bookkeeping Guide, and those outlined in Section 3 of the Unit Accounting, Bookkeeping, and Reporting Procedures, including introducing a computerized accounting system. There are a few options out there, such as Quicken, QuickBooks, Peachtree, and we felt that a digital method of accounting would increase our integrity over physical accounting methods. We are also determined to make sure that all the funds we received are classified properly as restricted or unrestricted, and that any sort of disbursement we make is made via check. And we also believe in sort of, again, modernizing our bookkeeping system, and we feel that we should, that the treasurer should have a SharePoint or OneDrive that includes timely digital copies of all the checks, incoming and outgoing, of all of our ACFCU statements, invoices, and receipts to sort of ease the end of year auditing. We also feel that the branch should purchase directors and officers liability and bonding insurance for the committee, in particular for the treasurer. And that's just a matter of protecting ourselves a bit more. And so this audit report, I'm unsure if it'll be shared, but Mike, you could probably answer that question, but I really enjoyed working with Kellen and Lily on this, and especially with how we were able to audit our massive budget in a couple days. So I'm very thankful for their help on this.
All right, awesome. Is there any discussion or questions on the annual financial audit? Okay, great. Hearing none, I'd like to just formally enter that into the record. So is there a motion to adopt the annual financial audit as presented by the Assistant Treasurer?
A motion to adopt.
Great, thank you, Second VP. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, First VP. I'm calling for any further discussion on the annual financial audit. All right, great. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed have the same right? Okay, great. We'll go ahead and get that entered in the record. And Madam Assistant Treasurer, I'd like to thank you and your committee for all of your hard work. I know you had to move pretty quickly and swiftly over the last couple days. I think the recommendations from that report are very strong. We will be convening the executive committee and the budget committee to review those recommendations and to decide how the branch should be moving forward. I'd like to just go to a couple announcements briefly, and then we'll get to our program. First, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Black History Month from the NAACP Arlington branch. It's been a busy last couple weeks, but it's important for us to make sure that we don't forget to acknowledge that. Secondly, I'm going to attempt to share my screen here. Let's see. I think that's it. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna just kind of recognize a couple folks. Of course, we had our elections back in December, but we also made appointments to our committees, and they were confirmed by the executive committee. So I'd like to congratulate the following individuals on your screen. As you can see, all of our committees are fully engaged and programmed in Arlington. If you want to get involved, we'd love to hear from you. The real work of the branch happens in the committees. So I think you've heard the phrase, many hands make light work. And we need all hands on deck. You know, as affluent and progressive and wealthy as Arlington is, I can promise you that each of these committees that you see on your screen are firing on all cylinders. So we will take any and all help that we can get, but I did want to congratulate all of these folks on their appointments and their confirmations. Next up, I just wanted to make a special announcement about the Freedom Fund Banquet. I am really excited. We're already getting started on that. We're getting ready to stand up the committee that will put together all of the details. That committee is in the early stages of some really exciting news. I can't share it just quite yet. I want to bring it before the executive committee, but I can probably make this in good faith. The event will most likely sell out. So when we make that announcement on the date, we have that venue, I want to encourage all of you to get those tickets because we have a really exciting program this year. It's going to be the first time that we're going to be both in person and hybrid. We have some really special speakers that we're reaching out to. We got some changes in the structure of the program that we're looking at and some really special things that we're going to do with the VIP. So when we make that announcement, just want to put a teaser out there. Make sure that you get your tickets because I have a good feeling that it will most likely sell out. All right. And if you want to join that banquet committee, I want to encourage you to reach out to past president Karen Nightingale, who has agreed to chair that committee. So without further ado, I want to pass it over to our Economic Development and Labor and Industry Chair, Ms. Megan Brew. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Mike. So I am here to share a small business spotlight. And again, huge shout out to Leah Matterall, who is our communications chair, without whom I could not make this happen. But for a bit of a reminder to folks, our small business spotlights are put on by our Economic Development and Labor Committee. What we do is we reach out to small business owners of color in Arlington to put them on our website. We also feature them on our social media, so our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. This month, we are highlighting the resource key, which promotes inclusion and accessibility in marketing. So really more of a consultancy and a marketing firm to help ensure that language is inclusive when promoting and services. Jordan Sanders is the CEO and owner of the Resource Key. She's been a speech pathologist for over 11 years, and she uses that expertise to integrate her own lived experiences, plus how we can leverage language to promote inclusion everywhere that we work. Fun fact about her, she was awarded LinkedIn Top Voices of 2020 for equity in the workplace. So her work has been widely recognized. So feel free to reach out to Jordan if you have any marketing needs and have a specific focus on that diversity and inclusion lens, which we all should. So be on the lookout for Jordan in the Resource Key on our social media accounts in the next 24 hours. They should be posted. And finally, thank you again to Leah for making that a reality.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to share a brief video. I'm going to kick it right back over to you. So I'm going to start the video for about 3 seconds and then just make sure that you can hear it and see it. And then we'll continue, okay? All right.
The federal government gave a big
Can you see and hear the video? Okay, awesome.
Yep.
boost to Black-owned businesses in Northern Virginia. Today in Manassas, hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal funding was announced to help Black-owned businesses grow. Senator Tim Kaine was on hand to announce new funding for the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. Here's News 4's Juliana Valencia.
Durrani Coffee House calls itself a hub for the community. The Manassas coffee shop is celebrating 7 years and is looking to open another location. That's where co-founder Ken Mormon says most businesses need help in getting to the next level.
Because I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs of color, that is one of the big things that they struggle with. You know, getting funds for all of the electrical needs, point of sale systems, equipment, to get, you know, replacing equipment. Sometimes that's really neat. Sometimes that can make the difference between closing and staying open.
Now some $300,000 in federal funding has been secured by Democratic Senator Tim Kaine for the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce to help businesses like this.
But this grant is going to help not just the organization, but it's going to help dozens and dozens of small businesses, and I'm really excited about that.
The federal funding will go to the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, which provides technical assistance and resources to Black-owned small businesses in Alexandria, Arlington, Fairfax County, Loudoun County, and Prince William County.
The ability of this chamber is to reach into these businesses, do training, do technical assistance, offer some financial assistance, and make sure that these budding entrepreneurs can grow and thrive.
The Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce says that $300,000 in funding should be available to small businesses by August. In Manassas, Julie.
All right, Madam Chair, go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So we have the privilege today of having Samuel Wiggins with us. Samuel is the Chief Executive Officer for Wiggins Advisory LLC and the Chief Operating Officer for Soderich Corporation. He has over 25 years of experience in executive leadership, security, and risk management. His expertise in management of projects, people, and resources spans both private and government sectors. And he currently serves as the chairman of the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. So, Samuel, we are so excited to have you here. Thank you, Mr. Wiggins, for joining us. And we look forward to hearing a little bit more about how the Nova Black Chamber plans to use some of that funding or distribute it more broadly to Black business owners in the area.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure to fellowship with the sister organization. There's so much synergy in what we do. So, but I got to tell you something funny. So when I eagerly jumped at speaking to you guys, and I was talking with your president, Michael, it was more like, hey, you know what? We want you to talk about the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. I was like, okay, hey, great, I can do that. Then when I looked at the flyer, it was like, oh, Black economic empowerment. I said, oh, okay, let me write some notes. And now we're going to talk about the funding. So, hey, we'll right back to point A. I love it. So first, let me tell you a little bit about Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. We are over 300 strong in membership. Much like you all, we have committees. We have a capacity of 15 member board. Currently, we're at 10, and that's comprised of a chairman, me, vice chair, Robin McDougall, and our secretary, Jamil, and Scott, who's our treasurer, and then our executive director, Sheila Dixon. So what our mission is, we are here to promote the economic empowerment and the economic development of Black-owned businesses and business overall in Northern Virginia. So how do we do that? We do that through training, through access to resources, through certifications, and through advocacy. And I would be remiss if I did not recognize one of our board directors who's here today, Michelle Jefferson. Michelle, are you out there right now?
Good
Well-
evening, everyone. Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. Michelle is our, she's a board director and she is our chair of the Committee for Advocacy. So as we talk about the funding we got and what we plan to do with it, I also want to highlight what she does in her role as chair of advocacy. Now let's talk about the funding. So I do want to talk about how we got it because it's important to share that so that other organizations can take advantage of it. We applied for a congressionally directed spending request. And that basically is when your congressman, whether it be a senator or representative, where they will take your application, where you'll talk about your organization, your impact in your area of operation, the support you have, and most importantly, the project that you intend to do. They'll take that, consider it, and they'll put you in the slot with a bunch of other organizations looking for the same thing, looking for funding to do their projects. And if they find that your project is worthwhile, then they will submit it to Congress as part of their appropriations request. So fortunately, we did get funded in the amount of $300,000. So that was great for us and also great for the businesses in the region. And it will help us to now that, okay, so look, another funny thing. In the news clip that you showed, I saw a close-up of my executive director, but I saw a really, really far away shot of me. So next time I'll love a close-up. But the newscaster kind of had it wrong. It's not really going directly to Black-owned businesses. It's designed to help us fund an accelerator program. So what we intend to do is set up a program where we handle our businesses really from cradle to grave. So it's really, we're thinking of an accelerator incubator where we take our businesses, we teach them to be scalable, sustainable, and most importantly, successful. If they don't have certifications, for example, an MWB certification or SWAM certification, they call it here in Virginia, we'll help them get that. If they are a government contractor and they don't have the cybersecurity certification that's required under new government rules, we'll help them get that. If they don't have that network with prime contractors, hey, that's what we're there for too. So we're gonna have them, we have a pipeline where we'll pull them in, we'll assess their needs, and then we'll get them from point A to point Z, where when they leave our pipeline, they're fully sustainable, they're fully scalable, and they're able to go forth and grow. And as we well know that Black-owned businesses in Northern Virginia are a critical part of the lifeblood of Northern Virginia. So there's that, but let's talk more comprehensively, because I do want to touch on economic empowerment, especially Black economic empowerment. I actually like to call it economic equity, because we have economic power. I mean, if I could probably look around at the backgrounds of everybody's house, I'll probably see a lot of economic power. So, and we've exercised that economic power many times in the past. During the Civil War, not Civil War, during the Civil Rights era, we have exercised our economic power through boycotts. And as of 2022, I looked up some stats. We have a spending power of $1.6 trillion. That's huge. So when we turn around and look at equity, that's a little bit different. As far as equity goes, compared to our non-Black counterparts, our household income, our average net worth household income is 75% lower than our non-Black counterparts. If you look at businesses, Black-owned businesses there are only about 4% of Black-owned businesses in the whole United States. So Black-owned businesses, they can hire employees. And finally, in 2022, Black people made up the largest unemployment rate in the United States. Of all ethnicities, African Americans had the largest unemployment rate. So it's not really about empowerment, that's a component. It really is about equity. And what we do for equity, it takes a village. I always love saying that. It's an old saying, but I love saying it takes a village. It takes not only training, programs, resources, networking, it takes our government. It takes state, local, and federal government to really kind of change the wheels, to force DE&I, to force supply diversity, to do things to kind of close that racial wealth gap. And I'm going to allow Michelle to speak now on the Chamber's efforts in the face of gaining equity and economic empowerment. And then we'll take some questions.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to our sister organization. As Sam said, the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce, our mission is for Black-owned businesses to thrive, not just the businesses, but the Black-owned community. So let's talk about a few things. Access to capital, you saw it in the clip. That is the number one obstacle for businesses is access to capital. Number two, health insurance. Being able to provide health insurance for their business and for their employees. Number three, workforce development. And so here are a few things that we have put into place and worked on. We have partnered with the Virginia Chamber along with other chambers, and that have put together a consortium for health insurance. It's Wise Choice Healthcare Insurance. Right now, we're in the process of the chambers vetting it, asking all the questions they have before it's rolled out. But let me just give you a couple of highlights of what it will be for small-owned businesses. It's to provide access to small businesses, designed for small businesses, 2 to 50 employees, regardless of health history. Health status cannot be a condition of participation or association membership. Any business that is a member of the local Chamber of Commerce or other sponsoring association is eligible. Purpose is to deliver lower cost of coverage. Cost of coverage is anticipated to be 15 to 20% less than current small group rates. All excess reserve process must be used to the benefit of the participating members' managed trust, fully administered the consortium, ensuring that members' interests are served. Ensure quality insurance. Plans must provide essential health benefits. Minimum allowable coverage is comparable to the ACA Bronze Plan. All plans are guaranteed and renewable. Offer strong protections. No exclusion for pre-existing conditions. Prohibited from establishing discriminating rules based on health status. Utilize the pool rating methodology that does not discriminate on age or gender. Consortiums must be annually audited. The fifth point, maintain financial security and sovereignty. Must be licensed and authorized by the Bureau of Insurance. Must meet the same financial and solvency requirements of all other domestic insurance. Requires annual certification, actuary sound underwriting practices, subject to ERISA and DOA, which stands for Department of Labor requirements. So this started last year, and we're in the phase of the chamber engagement. So we're giving our feedback. We've brought it to our chamber, asked questions. In May, the consortium will submit for application and authority. Anticipated launch is July, and then in that's kind of backwards, because in June there's a healthcare conference for the chambers. So healthcare conference for the chamber, and then in July is the anticipated launch, and also in June a broker and chamber staff training. So those are one of the things that we work diligently on with our partners to bring to our members and to hopefully break down some of those barriers and the inequities that are happening. Secondly, when we're talking about access, we really work hard to have relationships with our legislative partners. So I will just give you an example, and it's on all levels, federal, state, and local. I'll give you an example of like the last 2 weeks, Sam, we've been quite busy, right? The FBI, as you know, is looking at a site to come to in Northern Virginia. So the chamber went out and partnered with our legislative authorities to lobby for that to come to the site in Springfield, Virginia. So we had the opportunity, and it was open to our members if they wanted to come. It's advertised to be up close and personal with all our senators, Senator Kane, Senator Warner, Chairman McKay of Fairfax, Loudoun County, several Prince William County officials came out. So another thing, what we have to recognize, we must do things differently, or not differently, intentionally and strategically, right? So we have to constantly engage our legislative and local officials. And so that's one of the ways that we've done it. We had a congressional award funding. Tomorrow we'll be at the coffee Black History celebration at the Capitol with our senators. And all of these are open to our members. Today, our executive director spoke at a roundtable with Congressman Conley and other other officials, just talking about the needs and what we have. And so it's very critical to stay in the presence of folks and let them know there's a need. Yes, we got this funding, but that's a penny in a bucket, right? We need to do and continue to do more. We have programming set up. One of our programs, which we're looking to have again last year, an Economic Development Authority workshop. We had the heads of all of the economic development authorities in the area: Fairfax, Arlington, Alexandria, Loudoun, and then we had the gentleman, the George Mason diversity and supply person present. And we had a workshop, and our members were there and could bring directly to them their problems they're facing. Here are the leaders in the counties making the decisions, looking how and where things are driven. And it's very critical that they actually hear from the people who are doing the work every day. So lastly, and I'll close with this, it is really critical that we're always looking at systems and structures that inhibit or provide barriers. What can we do to get around those barriers? And we're making progress. So we're excited that you've asked us to come present and share with you, and always excited to share with our partner organization, and always look for any opportunities that we can work together, because there's power in our voices together. So once again, thank you.
So you got a 2-for-1 there. I'm going to add to that. What I'm going to say is that one of the things we focus on too is banking. We love getting together with our local banks, our national banks, and bring them to the table so they can talk about what makes for build a relationship with our members, and also talk about how to approach a bank when you want to secure funding. That's huge. That's one thing we found that a lot of our members and Black businesses need, not only access to resources, but knowing the proper way, knowing what to have in your hip pocket when you're actually going to get loans, when you're actually going to get grants, when you're trying to get state and federal funding. You know, there's a lack of knowledge. For example, if you look at the PPP loans, and if you look at the EIDL loans back during COVID, it was disastrous in the Black community, because sure, the funds were out there, but the knowledge and the information on securing them was not. And the relationships with the banks that you needed to secure at least a PPP in the EIDL wasn't there as well. So we're working to change that. We're working to build the infrastructure for future issues, for future business development. We're trying to tie it in the private sector with the banks, with our government sector, with our elected officials, because that's the universe for minority-owned businesses. It's the money and the advocacy, the legislation, and the program. So, but that's enough talk. If you guys have any questions, we would love to answer them.
Well, thank you to both of y'all. Exactly what you just said. Samuel, we had a 2-for-1 situation here. So loved getting to hear from both of y'all. I would encourage folks who are on the line, if you have questions, to drop them in the chat. We will address them and I will pull them out for our speakers here. Samuel, I did want to jump back over to you. You mentioned that a decent chunk of that funding is going to go towards an accelerator program. Would love to just hear a little bit more about what you envision that to entail.
So here's where he starts making stuff up on the fly. No, I'm joking. No, so what we would like to do is one thing we've seen, as I said before, with our Black businesses, our member businesses, they have a great business, they have great clientele, but they don't necessarily know how to scale. They don't necessarily know how to make the best use of networks or the path to growth, or even towards the end road of their business, selling the business. So, if, you know, even to a point where you're going to sell your business or you pass over the reins. So we want to help with that. We want to be able to bring them in, see where they're at, meet them where they're at, build them up through training, because it's all about training. I mean, one thing I'm big on, and I was in the government for over 20 years. And when I got out of the government, me and my brother opened up our own business. So I actually have 2 businesses, Soterics and Wiggins Advisory. But we opened up our own business, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Just getting incorporated, trying to get certified, looking at programs that are out there. You know, it's hard. And once you have your business, you have like 5 years. You know, the rule of thumb is you have 5 years where you know your business will be successful or it will fail. In those 5 years, trying to get clients, trying to get access to resources, they are critical. And so we find that a lot of our member businesses, hey, they may be doing well, hey, they're out there, but they hit a point where they need a little help getting over that hump to properly grow. So that's what we want the accelerator to do.
Thanks so much for addressing that. Really appreciate what y'all were talking about, both in terms of the legislative engagement. Particularly, it sounds like y'all have done a lot of work at the federal level and with our representatives and Congress people for the Northern Virginia area. In addition, love the way that you are trying to integrate and connect our policy with the banking system to ensure that our Black business owners have equitable access to capital. I'd love to hear a little bit more about local policy efforts or state policy efforts that y'all are pushing for. I know that we've been thinking a lot about the recent policies around the TOSAs and keeping those in Arlington, which has been successful thus far and a lot of demand for that. But would just be curious to hear what your main priorities are on the local and state level.
Michelle, you're up to bat.
Yeah, so thank you. Really, I will tell you, it's kind of the same. Not kind of, it is the same. Access to capital, access to capital, access to capital. So, and really addressing the systems that keep Black owners and Black businesses from being successful. And Sam mentioned it, one of them that he stated, being able to know how to bank, having that relationship. Just the PPP was a great example that he used, right? Because Black owned businesses did not have the relationships with the big banks, the bigger banks, and also our regional business banks. If you didn't have those relationships, you didn't get those loans, because whether you think so or not, those loans were being prioritized within those institutions for their clients. I mean, that's just how things work. So on the local level, we are engaging continually with our local officials for the access to capital. We're also doing some community-minded things. We have a project that we're working on. It hasn't been finalized, but just in the policing area, what happens what do you need to do if you get stopped by the police? So our chairman has a law enforcement background, right? And we're partnering we're rolling it out first in Fairfax County, but our goal is to go to each county and roll this out in the area that it's most needed. So it's working with the businesses, working with the community, because we want to create that culture and that environment for people to thrive. And as Sam said, the infrastructure that's needed, make sure that we're meeting with the folks and putting that infrastructure in place and building so that we can get the result where there's equity and we can thrive. And so it's a process, and each you're not going to erase all of the institutional things in a year or two, but we're moving and we're working hard to accomplish those goals, because it's critical for the success of our businesses and our community.
Hey, I like that one. I like that one thing to that. We're looking at trying to really, we were trying for a while to get the state government, Virginia, to make SWAM requirements. Like when you get a contract, and prime contractors, when they have these contracts, they're encouraged to have minority subcontractors, encouraged. So, but there's no hammer, there's no requirement. So we're really pushing behind the scenes through our relationships to make that a requirement, because I have been in business for what, over 5 years now in Northern Virginia, and I've not seen one subcontract from a prime contract in Virginia. Because when you only have encouragement, you know, you're not going to have much participation, because it's easier to just say, hey, I tried, you know, didn't find anybody, than to go through the hoops of getting a subcontract that you don't know, and people are scared to take the risk. So you kind of have to force their hands. That's on the state level. The other thing about the policing effort, hey, that's something that we're kind of in the NAACP's lane for, but we feel so strongly about it that we'd like to do it, and we'd like to partner with you guys to do that. I think, you know, arm in arm, we can bring about change, or maybe keep Northern Virginia as safe as possible, so we don't have the rash of killings and inequities and policing that have been crossing the country. So it's something I think we should do together. I saw that, Wanda.
One thing I would like to piggyback on Sam, that the requirements for the contracting, we're doing that also on the state level, I mean, federal level, but when the state gets to where we need them, right, at the requirement, not only is it a requirement, then you have a process to audit that process to ensure that requirement's being met. Because that's the challenge at the federal level. So at the state level, we're moving to get it one way, but we'd like to make sure that there's accountability and that it's being moved forward.
Amazing. Well, I am so grateful that both of you are with us tonight, and really appreciate just your perspectives and sharing about the direction of the Northern Virginia Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm really looking forward to all of the partnership ahead, and we'll definitely need to loop Heather Kelly into some of those future conversations too, for additional engagement around policing and sort of how you see that from the business lens. So without further ado, Mike, I'm going to hand it back over to you. Thanks, y'all.
All right, awesome. Before you head back down, I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of the branch. And if everyone could just give them a virtual round of applause. I know I learned so much. And Sam, one of the things that we're looking at is doing a Know Your Rights seminar, or, you know, working with Noble, the National Organization for Black Law Enforcement. I know First VP, he's a former police chief and is very interested in this work, as am I. And I also think we're all aware of the situation that happened in Fairfax. So, you know, whatever we can do to be a good partner, you can count us in. And we appreciate your time this evening and look forward to future collaboration. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You guys take care. Have a wonderful meeting.
Have a
Thank you.
great meeting.
All right, juggling all of the controls here. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, for a great spotlight and a great informational session on the Northern Virginia Black Chamber. Yeah, like I said, I learned so much, and you did good. So we really appreciate you.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, awesome. I'm going to move us along to just a couple VIPs that have joined us since we started. So Senator Favola, who represents Arlington, is with us this evening. Senator Favola, did you want to address the membership briefly?
Oh, so thank you, Mike. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you. I always find your meetings to be interesting and so informative. Well, our session came to a roaring end on Saturday, but we don't have a full budget. We passed a very streamlined, we would call a stopgap measure budget, where we fixed a technical error in the composite index. Many school systems, the Arlington Public School systems included, had received less dollars from the state than they anticipated simply because of a calculation error. And so we fixed that. We will be heading back to finish negotiations on the budget. I'm really hoping we can make progress in the behavioral health area. We passed legislation that will allow more counselors in schools. We also passed legislation that would require teachers to take trauma-informed training so they can really better identify students in their classrooms who are really suffering. So it's been a productive session. I mean, we also were a blue brick wall. You know, we had a lot of what I would call just anti-women legislation. It was very stressful, really. A lot of legislation to ban abortion at all different levels, and we defeated all of it. And then, of course, my bill got the most attention of any bill in the General Assembly this past year. I put in a bill that would prohibit the use of search warrants in accessing your menstrual health data that would be kept on apps or on other electronic devices, and it caused quite a flurry. I think it was a common sense bill, passed the Senate with bipartisan support, and then proceeded to die in a House subcommittee. But the governor sent a spokesperson to stand up and, oppose the bill. Well, that caught a lot of interest because, menstrual health data is a real private kind of thing. Why would you be using a search warrant to access it? So it led to a lot of questions. It even made the Colbert Show. So I've been busy giving lots of interviews to different news outlets. The environment, we were a blue brick wall on the environment. We had a lot of proposals to take us out of Reggie, to weaken our involvement in the Chesapeake Bay Compact, to remove us from our electric car standards. So, we defeated all of that, but it was disheartening to see those issues come before us, because climate change is real, and our children want us to do something, and we need to do something. They deserve a green environment, a cleaner environment. And lastly, I'll just say that all the gun safety measures went down. And, in spite of the horrific shooting that we had in Newport News, where very disturbed young child, 6 years old, actually shot his teacher's recovering. But we had a safe storage bill for guns. And that, that was defeated. We had a bill to prohibit automatic weapons following the federal law that was in effect, I guess, 20 years ago. That went down. So that was just another area where we had a lot of disagreement, but I'm here. Yeah, I enjoy being with my constituents, fighting for the values we care about, and it's an honor to represent you. It's an honor to be a partner with the NAACP.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here, and you attend, as far as I know, almost all of our meetings. So we really do appreciate that. And I heard that another student at that same school also brought a gun to that school. I think it was last week. So yeah, thanks for being in this fight with us, and we appreciate you being here this evening.
Thanks, Mike. I enjoy your program, so I'm going to stay on for a while, if that's okay.
Okay, great. Our Commonwealth attorney is also with us, but she's not in a place to step away. I just want to acknowledge her presence and just thank you and express our gratitude for being with our membership this evening. Our VP said they didn't have comments earlier, but I just want to yield to them maybe potentially one more time in case they do. First VP, any comments you'd like to share with the membership tonight?
Yes, as I reflect over Black History Month and had the opportunity to attend, just a few educational and cultural events, it occurred to me that every Black History Month, I learned something. So because there's so many contributions in so many different areas, engineering, medicine, science, technology, a pledge that I'm making for the remainder of the year is to make my study of Black history just an ongoing study. And the reason for that is that I'd like to really be better prepared when I come across young people to encourage them with a part of Black history. So that's what I'm going to do, and I would encourage other members of this organization to perhaps do the same thing.
Excellent remarks. And before I send you back down, it was so great seeing you over the weekend at the Virginia Black History Month Gala. It's the largest celebration of Black history in Virginia. And just like you said, I learned so much. So I think those are excellent comments and excellent remarks. Thank you so much. Second VP, any comments you'd like to share with our membership?
Just like to echo the remarks that the first VP made about education being a work in progress and constantly learning more. I recently learned about Barbara Jordan, who was one of the first Black and LGBTQ women in Congress, and I had frankly no idea of the tremendous work that she had done, and I pride myself on being more educated about political science and the history of our federal government. And so being open to learning more and really trying to make Black History Month something that is consistent and learning about the achievements of people that are often overlooked. And so I do very much second the comments made by the first VP.
All right, awesome. And in that theme, I also wanted to mention the Arlington Black Clergy Association had a beloved community workshop earlier in the month, and we got to hear directly from Reverend Dr. Otis Moss. And I too learned a lot about Dr. King, and it's those stories that are so incumbent upon us to make sure live on. So first VP, I think you're onto something. I think we can all challenge ourselves to continue learning. Thank you, second VP. Third VP, any comments from you?
Well, just to, I guess, echo some of the things that you all have mentioned, I guess just keeping the spirit of Black History Month alive all year long. It's also something that I pledged to do this year. And I just wanted to point out some of the places that we have locally here in Arlington. If you're interested in learning more about Black history, some things I learned this month was that there are several local places. There's two places I know of here in Arlington, Arlington House and the Black History Heritage Museum of Arlington. There's a couple of places in Alexandria, Fairfax. So those are places that I've made my personal goal to try to visit at least once a month throughout the year, those places, just to learn something new. So I would just encourage everyone else to keep the spirit alive all year long.
All right, awesome. I appreciate that. I brought all of you up here because I just wanted to express my gratitude. Folks, these have been my right hand and left hand. We've had calls at all hours of the day. We had to get before the school board a couple weeks ago on a dime's notice, and each of these VPs were there, and they represented the NAACP well. And so I just want to publicly thank each of you for all that you do for the branch and all that you do for our community. I really appreciate you. All right, we're right on time. We're going to shift gears and we're going to go to our next speaker, who comes from us from the AAKOMA project. Before we hear from Mr. Johnson and Ms. Tia, I did want to just share another brief video. So I'm going to start the video, and then if someone could let me know if they could see and hear it, I'd really appreciate it.
Hi there. It is.
Everybody see and hear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
It is my pleasure and honor to be with you as part of the important work that the NAACP in the Arlington, Virginia area is doing. I can't tell you enough how much the NAACP has meant to me and my family. My parents are deep Southerners. They're both from Mississippi. My spouse is from Mississippi. And so I know the importance of the work that the organization has done over the years, and it's just an honor to be with you. My name is Dr. Alfie Breland Noble. I am the founder and the leader of an organization called the AAKOMA Project. And I just want to say to you again, what an honor it is to be with you. I want to tell you briefly about the AAKOMA Project, where we are about 3 key pillars: raising consciousness, empowering people, and changing the system of mental health. There, right there over my left shoulder, you can see our symbol, which is the heart. The word AAKOMA for us is an acronym, but it comes from the West African symbol AAKOMA, which simply means loving, tolerance, and patience, and welcoming. And that's what we try to do with the AAKOMA Project. So our work is all in the space of centering the mental health needs of youth and young adults who are of color and who have intersectional identities, because we know that young people are not either LGBTQIA+ or of color, nor are they young people with disabilities or of color. They are all of those things and so much more. So if you want to learn more about who we are at the AAKOMA Project, or you want to donate, or you want to check out some of our offerings like free therapy for young people new to therapy between the ages of 12 and 30, as well as young people who might be interested in one of our offerings called Team AAKOMA, which is our Youth Leadership and Advisory Board. We will open up applications for that program probably in the fall of 2023. And that's a little bit about who we are and why we exist. I will also say briefly that we are one of the few, of which I'm aware, research-based organizations. Our research is all in the space of what we call culturally relevant and culturally responsive mental health. And so the evidence that we generate is evidence that applies to the widest range of young people possible. And it is evidence that is grounded in research conducted by the AAKOMA Project in collaboration with youth, young adults, their families, and communities. We put out a report in 2022, the State of Mental Health of Youth of Color report. We'd love for you to check it out. It's one of the few research studies that I've ever seen that has relatively equal sample sizes of young people from 5 racial ethnic groups: multiracial young people, African-American Black young people, Latino, Latine young people, Native American young people, and Asian American Pacific Islander young people. So we have beautiful broad representation. There's lots of data in there, and we have an executive summary that we'd ask you to go to the website and check out, share widely, and stay tuned, because in the summer, we're going to have an event where we dive in deep on that, and we'd love to have the NAACP's support. It's my pleasure to introduce to you, I call him my nephew. He is a phenomenal subject matter expert for the AAKOMA Project. His name is Brandon Johnson. He has a primary focus on Black youth suicide prevention. He led an incredible meeting that he planned back in the fall with some of the top names in Black youth suicide prevention, research, clinical care, and policy. And we are just so elated to have him as one of our beloved and respected subject matter experts. So next up, you're going to hear from Brandon Johnson, who works for SAMHSA in his primary day job, and who does a lot of work for us at the AAKOMA Project as a beloved and wonderful subject matter expert, and who runs something called the Black Mental Wellness Podcast that I would ask you to check out. The Black Mental Wellness Lounge is actually what it's called. I'm sorry. And so with that, thank you so much for your time and attention. It's my pleasure to be with you again. And I'm going to turn it over to Brandon Johnson. As I always say, I want to wish you lots of love and light. And I hope that your love and light are always informed by what we produce at the AAKOMA Project, which is good, culturally relevant science. Thanks so much.
All right, awesome. I'm going to bring up Ms. Tia Alfred, who is our Education Committee Chair. I think we all know that what's been going on in our community, in our school system. We all are aware of, really there is a crying out for help in this moment, and there is a crying out from the community for action. And I thought it was extremely appropriate to bring on the AAKOMA project, which is based right here in Arlington. And Dr. Alfie, I believe, is Miss Tia's neighbor. So, you know, the programming and the remarks that we're about to hear from, you know, Mr. Johnson are right on time and could not be more appropriate. So, Ms. Tia, I will yield over to you to go ahead and take it away and take it from here.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to introduce Mr. Brandon J. Johnson, MHS, MCHES. He is a tireless advocate for positive mental health and suicide prevention services for youth and adults across the country and within the local community of Baltimore, Maryland. He is a subject matter expert in suicide prevention with a particular focus on suicide prevention planning and suicide prevention strategies for Black youth. Currently, he serves as a public health advisor at the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration in the Suicide Prevention Branch at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In this role, Brandon serves as a government project officer for various suicide prevention grant programs that target youth, adults, and healthcare systems. He is the program lead of the Garrett Lee Smith State Tribal Youth Suicide Prevention Grant Program, which funds states, tribes, and territories to create suicide prevention programs for youth and young adults ages 10 to 24. I present to you Brandon J. Johnson.
Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. I definitely want to extend my gratitude to you all for having us on behalf of the AAKOMA project. Thank you for holding space for this topic right now. And as it was mentioned earlier, there's a lot going on, particularly with this subject and really just universally when it comes to our kids and ourselves. And so I'm excited to dive into this today. But yeah, that's a bit about my background. So, you know, and again, I want to say I'm not representing the feds today, but I do work for the federal government doing that work. I actually just started today as the acting branch chief for suicide prevention at the agency. So I'm the first African-American person to hold that position. So I'm excited to do that and in this next stage of my career. And I do so much work with the AAKOMA project. I can't tell you how much I, you know, love and enjoy the work that we do. And Dr. Alfie Breland, that's my auntie. I love her and all that she brings to this space. And so if I can, I want to see if I'm able to share my screen. It looks like I am. Cool. So I'll go through this rather quickly, just considering, you know, the time that I have this evening. And so please don't hesitate if you want to reach back out to us. As Dr. Breland Noble mentioned, we certainly want to continue this. We see this as a first conversation, and we want to make sure that we're continuing this as we move forward. And so what I'm going to do tonight is really just talk about where we are, like what's the state of Black mental health and wellness. Like, so we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about suicide prevention. I'm going to share another resource with you all at the end as well. And I just want to, you know, be clear up front that I know sometimes that these topics can be a bit heavy. And so we do have the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is now transferred to a 3-digit number, and it's now 988. So at any point in time during this, if you're like, hey, this is too heavy, or like I need, you know, it's brought up some feelings and things that I didn't expect, you know, definitely, you know, you can call, chat, or text 988. So if you text 988 on your phone, you would get connected to a trained crisis counselor. So just in case anything pops up, you know, any feelings or things pop up tonight that you didn't necessarily expect and want some assistance with, we can do that as well. So looking forward to doing this. Again, this is my typical disclaimer, the ones that, the federal government says that I have to say, is that I'm not representing any government agency tonight. I am solely representing the AAKOMA project. And so again, too, I know we're going to do Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions or anything that pops up, like, go ahead and drop them into the chat as I'm talking. We want this to be interactive. And in that same vein of being interactive, one of the things that we talk about a lot at the AAKOMA project, and as we talk about mental health and wellness, is being able to check in with ourselves. Many of us around the table we have so many different identities that we carry with us throughout the day, right? Wherever we're employed, if, we're a spouse, if we have a significant other, if we're a parent, you all are a part of this group, you may be a part of other groups, you may be well connected in other places. And so oftentimes we're just on go mode, right? And the culture just kind of, tells us that we have to produce, right? We have to produce and get things done. But, when's the last time that you may have checked in with yourself to see how you're doing? I always tell the story of one of my friends, you're used to saying like, you good? How are you? And, people would just say like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good. But one day my friend asked me like, what were like the top 3 emotions you felt today? And I was like, I don't know, right? Like, you had to stop and think about it. So I want to encourage us in this time, again, as much as you feel comfortable, if there are a couple emotions that you felt today, it doesn't have to be 24 hours. It can just be today, since we're meeting in the evening. But if there are some emotions that particularly resonated with you today, if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and drop those in the chat. But one of the things that we talk about is really centering ourselves, our emotions, knowing how we're feeling and knowing how we're doing. So if anybody feels comfortable, do that. If not, it's totally fine, but just a good way sometimes even just to check in with ourselves. And so for me, I'm excited. I am peaceful because my kids are actually being quiet during this presentation. So I actually feel very peaceful and just really hopeful about this, that we're having conversations like this in these spaces. So again, just really feeling excited about what's to come with this conversation. So Dr. Alfie did a great job of already positioning the AAKOMA project. And so I'm not going to go through and repeat everything that she said, but our goal is really centered around holding space, creating opportunities for mental health education, suicide prevention education, wellness for BIPOC youth, so Black, Indigenous, children of color, really kind of looking at how can we change systems, how can we raise consciousness, like how can we make it so that our young people don't feel that they can't talk about what's going on with them, to know that they have a place also as well at the table when we have conversations around mental health and wellness, and understanding that this is something that impacts them as well. So this is part of our mission statement, and I'll give you more information there as well. So again, these are the pillars of the AAKOMA project: raise consciousness, empower people, and change systems. Really, that changing system piece is real, because there are so many places and systems that aren't safe for our children, especially as we talk about our children of color, LGBTQ plus young people. There are so many spaces that just aren't safe for them. And so we want to make sure that the systems that they touch, that they interact with, that they are connected to. I've heard a lot about schools tonight. Because of those instances, how do we make those safe places for their mental wellness and mental well-being is really a part of what we do. But you can see these 3 pillars here. And so tonight I'm just going to go through and talk about like where are we, like what's happening with Black mental wellness, what's happening with suicide prevention. Dr. Alfie mentioned that that's really where a lot of my work lies. I'm leading an initiative within my agency, taking the federal hat back on around Black youth suicide. So that's a lot of the work that I do there as well. We're really in a place now where we're having more conversations probably than ever around Black mental health. There are podcasts about it. There are dedicated news segments about it. There are, so many conversations when a celebrity such as Taraji P. Henson comes out and talks about her mental health journey, and others talk about theirs, and Dak Prescott and other places, athletes such as DeMar DeRozan. I mean, so many places that we're seeing it. And so those conversations are expanding, which is amazing. And we're so happy to see that happening. But where we're still having a challenge is that, the systems and the supports to help young people or to help with Black mental health are still severely lacking. Individuals may not know where to go. Is this place a safe place for me to go? Is this, does this place have my best interest? How do I even navigate this mental health system? Do I need a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist? How does this all work? And so, and again, we talk about that safety piece because all systems haven't been safe for us and our people historically when it comes to healthcare systems and mental health care. So that's, a part of kind of where we are. I want to share some data. Some of it may be heavy, but as we get on the other side of it, we're going to talk about where potential solutions are, where the work that you're doing and the things that you're involved in may have some connection to, just really give us some food for thought, and also how to take care of ourselves. So we'll do that also as well. And again, if you have any questions, definitely make sure that we are, doing, I can see them in the chat. So looking at mental health in America, unfortunately, what we're seeing is that there are increases in the burden around mental health. And so as you can see here, 18 and older in 2021, which is the most recent data that we have, about 23% of folks had any type of mental illness in the last year. And around young adults, age 18 to 25 was really the group that had a significant amount of mental health challenges. And so in looking at also what we call serious mental illness, which is really, severe, mental illness that causes you not to be able to function. You may need additional psychiatric services and things of that nature. And so with that, we had about 6% of adults 18 or older who experienced those as well. And this rate and these things are increasing. Unfortunately, these are things that we're continuing to see rise. And so as we look at that full picture, if we pull back a bit, looking at any mental illness of adults age 18 or older, if we look at race and ethnicity, we see particularly that non-Hispanic African Americans are right probably in the middle of that chart there. So about 21% of African Americans reported having some type of any type of mental illness in the past year. So again, this came out in 2021. And so unfortunately, another thing that we're seeing is that suicides are increasing among African Americans. The reason I always kind of like pause here is because many of you probably can remember or think about the fact that at some point in your life, you heard that this was something that didn't impact our community. This was something that didn't hit African Americans, didn't really hit our community. And what we've been seeing is that, especially over the last 10 years, we've been seeing significant increases in suicide deaths among Black Americans. And we've been seeing decreases among white Americans. So we've been seeing increases with Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, and American Indian and Alaska Natives. We've been seeing those increasing since about 2019. And then we've been seeing decreases with white adults in the same time frame. So this is something that has never really happened since we've been collecting suicide data. And it just gets us to thinking about why are we seeing some of these things as well. Dr. Alfie mentioned the state of mental health for youth of color. The report that came out from the AAKOMA project last year. I can't express enough about just how important this work is. And so the executive report is on the website. but it really, if you look at that breakdown of ethnicity of, you know, these were the young people that reported on this report, that doesn't happen, right? This is something that doesn't happen consistently. And, you know, we are very proud at the AAKOMA project to have had the opportunity to create something like this. And so I want to make sure if you want to check it out, you want to see where it is, I will pause here for you all to get the QR code. And, you know, again, if you just have your phone and if you highlight over top of it and have your camera open, you'll be able to, a link should come up somewhere on your screen. You'll be able to press it and you'll be able to get access to the State of Mental Health of Youth of Color report for 2022. So I would encourage you all to do that. I will come back to this slide in case you need it by the end of this presentation to make sure that you all have that. And so trends in Black youth suicide among young people has been increasing. For our Black youth between the ages of 5 to 12, we've seen a significant increase in their suicide rate. And we've also seen increases in particularly with suicidal thought and attempts with Black adolescents. So between the ages of 13 to 17. So we've been seeing these increase, unfortunately, you know, as we've been going on the past couple of years. So with this, a lot of the conversation, we see where the data is going. How do we help? How do we, you know, move the needle, move the dial in this space around mental health? There are so many different things that we're learning now around Black mental health because historically, research dollars weren't going to look at this topic. We weren't focused on this topic. Researchers weren't focused on this topic. There were many pioneers in the space like Dr. Alfie who were on this decades ago, but it just didn't get the attention in certain spaces. And so these are some of the things that we know. Peer and family support, having a relationship with culture and ethnic identity. Someone said it earlier about Black History Month, that they're like, I'm going to commit to each month as the rest of the year goes on to learning about my people and my culture. Things like that and those practices have been found to actually reduce depressive symptoms and suicidal ideation among folks. So it's a really good practice to do as well. Relationship with trusted adults outside the family. This is for youth and adults. Having those core connections, your people you call your brothers, your sister, that close inner circle can really help. Physical activity does a really great job with depressive symptoms. So getting out, being in nature, being around spirituality and religiosity, if you practice problem solving and coping skills, and building these connected spaces. So whether they be as a part of a faith-based organization, what you all have here is a place of connectedness where you all can you know, be connected and learn and be you know, have community and have space. And so also safe spaces where people can be their authentic selves, because a lot of spaces just haven't been particularly safe for us. And so as we're building out, I tell people to build out your own like mental health and wellness toolbox. Build out what works for you. Feel free to adjust it. If it's, you know, it could be doing yoga. And if yoga works for a while and it doesn't anymore, switching it to, you know, to music and finding that time to listen to music. I encourage folks to get connected to a mental health clinician. It hasn't always been a safe space for us, but I think it's important because of all the weights that we carry from, you know, these systems and, you know, dealing with racism, law enforcement, you know, outcomes within our community was brought up earlier. Those things have weights. So having things in place where we can talk to someone, a professional, to say, this is what's weighing on me. My therapist, you know, consider not too far from where you all are, in Silver Spring, is amazing. She's a Black woman, and, you know, we've talked about all sorts of things, but it's great to have, you know, that place and have that safe space to be able to talk about those things and to give yourself grace. You know, the things that we deal with are heavy. The mental health journey is a process, right? So it takes time to really connect with those things as well. And so I want to touch on briefly the Black Mental Wellness Lounge. Dr. Alfie mentioned that so graciously in her opening. This is a YouTube page that I created in 2020 in response to George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and the pandemic, to really have conversations around Black mental health and wellness. I don't think I shared my sound when I did this. Can you all hear that? I doubt it because I don't think I shared my sound.
Yeah, we can hear it. It's a little low, but yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is our theme song. Like, this is our opening for the Black Mental Wellness Lounge, and it's been an opportunity to really share things and topics, particularly around us. These are some of the topics where we have videos for already. I bring on and center clinicians of color on the Black Mental Wellness Lounge, so individuals who look at it can see themselves in this space. So these are just some of the topics and things that we've covered on the Black Mental Wellness Lounge. If you go to YouTube and just type in the Black Mental Wellness Lounge, you'll be able to see. We'll come right up and you'll be able to subscribe. To an adult, and this is just some of the things we've been able to do, right? It's just have conversations with young people and really just engage with folks around topics around Black mental health and healing. So we want to do more of these, get people together and really just talk and share around Black mental health. And so the other thing that I have on that page is Future Black Voices, which is really around helping high school students and college students who want to go into the field of mental health, social work, public health, just learn from other clinicians. So I have clinicians and other people in the field join me and just talk about things that they wish they knew. Whether it be licensing exams, whether it be navigating, finding a mentor, all of those things. So this is another thing that's a part of the Black Mental Wellness Lounge. So excited to have that. We also did a Black Youth Suicide Prevention Week in 2021 and 2022, where we shared infographics and things particularly around Black youth suicide that we shared across the internet. If anyone's interested in those, I can send those links out to folks. So, I have a page where people can download all of these infographics. The other thing I wanted to mention before we go is that the AAKOMA project has particularly a support for a teen or a young person of color who wants to register for therapy. So we know therapy can be expensive. There are a lot of barriers to it. And so what the AAKOMA project does is that you're able to get 5 free virtual sessions for a teen or young adult. So connect to our webpage. I think I saw it in the chat. If you click the webpage in our program section, you'll be able to see and get that access for virtual therapy. And so it does take a little bit to get an individual matched, but we're really trying to meet the need with the AAKOMA project of getting young people of color connected to care with a therapist that really can speak to their experiences and things as well. So we're super excited about this program. I'll try to get a link in the chat also, but we're super proud of this and want people to utilize this. So it would be awesome if you have a newsletter or something just to really share this far and wide, because we want to get our young people access and to remove barriers to their mental health and wellness. And so I'll stop there. I appreciate your attention, and we're here. The AAKOMA project is here to support you all. If there's anything in terms of trainings or events that you want us to come out to, we would love to do that. As you all said, AAKOMA project is based in your area. We would love to really just to have this be the beginning of our relationship. And so with that, I'll go ahead and pause and see if there are any questions.
Hello. We have a few questions that we gathered earlier. First of all, how do we break the negative stigma and normalize mental health in our community?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, and I think, one of the things that I've seen work the most is transparency. So many of us have gone through our own journeys and have our own stories, and have had things that we've experienced in our community, and we may not necessarily be in a place at any given time to really talk about that and share, but some of us are. And so being open enough and having another person see themselves in you, and you be able to say, I don't always have it together. I don't always execute things like I want to. Things don't always look that way on social media, right? Social media, everybody, you get the best of the best, right? Everything's going well, things are good, but to just have those moments of transparency to say, I struggle too. Things are heavy. Like this time, since COVID has been heavy. And so that's why I always make a point to talk about, my therapist, my mental health journey, because it's important. So people can see people that look like us really do go to therapy. So I think as much as we do that, it changes things. I tell people, especially Black men, I say, if you can go and share with somebody else, and you talk to another brother about your mental health and things going on with you, it not only brings down your wall, like that exterior wall, but it also brings down theirs. So now they see that, oh, this is something I can do. So maybe when they're in a different space, they may do that with somebody else, and it continues to build this, what I call muscle memory of it's okay to talk about things when they're not 100%. And so I think in our community in particularly, I think that's a big piece about it.
Thank you. Next question is, what advice do you have for parents that sense that their child might be experiencing mental health challenges? And are there any early indicators to look out for?
That's a really good question. So in terms of early indicators, there are things like isolation. There are things, when they're not taking care of their hygiene, they don't want to go anywhere, they don't want to do anything. Extreme levels of mood changes that are really, really swift, any type of physical behavior. And that's one that we, talk about a lot in our community. And sometimes where it's just a person's just mad, but it could be some other things, especially with our kids. And so I think those are some early indicators, but I tell people, you're the expert of the people around you, right? Because you may know this is really different, or this is adolescence, right? You're they're just getting older, things are shifting. And I am firmly in the middle of that. My kids are 11 and 9. And so you got to kind of pay attention to it and see what's shifting and really tap into those things. And so as a parent, I think it's great to get our kids connected and have these conversations early to talk about, emotions and feelings about, what to do when you're not feeling well or why you're acting out. And if possible, get them connected into therapy also. I talk, both of my kids, see a therapist, and it's more so just like maintenance. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in crisis to go talk to someone. You don't have to be in crisis to have a therapist or anything. It's just having that outlet, right? And sometimes your kids don't want to talk to you. And I know that that's rough. I have to tell myself that also. It's rough. And sometimes they don't want to talk to you. So giving them that outlet with somebody else who can be non-judgmental and is there for that reason as a professional can really be helpful.
Okay. Now, how can we alleviate colorism in schools against darker skinned Black girls in particular?
Oh, yeah. That's definitely a major issue. And I think in terms of that issue of colorism in schools, it's really about having those conversations and letting people know that those things are not okay. And I think also too, to be honest, that colorism thing also has to work with our educators as well, because they can perpetuate it within the classroom. And if the class sees the teacher respond that way, then they're going to pick up that learned behavior. And I think a lot around colorism is really about learned behavior. It's that exclusion, right? It's that, muscle, again, muscle memory, things that you do for a long period of time, you just do them. And so if you're intentionally or unintentionally isolating opinions, thoughts, behaviors, comments from, individuals because they're darker than you and things like that, and our kids see it, we have to model that behavior that's not okay. A lot of what our kids get is learned behavior, right? It's not a natural thing. And so I say have those conversations, let people, let kids understand what that is. And so, our kids are really good. If we trust them with that information, like they'll think about it and do better. It's not necessarily a wait for them. This is something that they can start to internalize now before they go years and years and years of not realizing it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what's this colorism thing? And they, might have been perpetuating it for years. So I think having that open conversation is important too.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. What could Arlington County, including our school system, be doing to contribute to better overall health of students?
Okay, I'll try to make this quick because I got a list. But no, I think one of the things that our young people are looking for is social and emotional learning in schools, right? Like we did. So Dr. Alfie mentioned that meeting that we did at Samson around Black youth suicide. We had young people come. We had young Black youth and adolescents come and talk to us. Like we just listened. We're like, what do you want to tell us? What can we do? And one of the things that they said was that we would love to have learned this earlier. We would have loved before we got on our own individual journeys, that we knew coping skills, we knew coping mechanisms, we knew that, this may be a mood swing, but if I'm feeling like this for like weeks at a time, that something else is wrong. Getting that language together, I think is important. One thing that our young people also said that I thought was really, really cool, and if there's an opportunity for you all to do it, I think would be helpful, is that sometimes they're like, get the young people to talk to their parents. Like get a group of young people who are interested in this and hold a session for parents. Young people can say, this is what we're going through. This is what's happening with us. You may not be able to speak our language, but let us tell you directly, like, let us get the time to talk and you listen about what's happening with us, I think is key. Also, bringing out the AAKOMA project, right? To do trainings, to do workshops, to come out and share these things, I think is really important. Dr. Alfie has built an amazing team and reputation. And if you don't know Dr. Alfie, like just Google her. She's been on CNN. She's done things with Rodney P. Henson. She's doing work with MTV right now, but she's really passionate about this and she's tapped into these places. And so I think really, bringing the AAKOMA project on, there's so many of us who work as subject matter experts who would love to, come down and I agree, Mike, just go Google her. But she's been on the lounge too multiple times because she's so amazing. But just tap into that work, share the state of mental health of youth of color report. Like, please share that far and wide, because that's information directly from young people that we don't have access to all the time. And so I think those would be some of the things that I think could be beneficial.
Well, that was my final question, was what can the NAACP do to be a stronger partner with you and the AAKOMA project?
Call us just like you did now. I mean, we're here. Like I said, share the report. Like I said, anytime you can get Dr. Alfie to come and be a part of something, I would definitely say bring her there. When the event happens in the summer, definitely connect to see how we can manage with that. And I don't have all those details to know how that how that's going to work, but would love to partner with that. And or if you do any like health fairs or education or have specific events, like just have AAKOMA come out and be able to share about this. Again, it's all about to us normalizing those conversations, that whenever we're around doing anything, like talking about mental health isn't abstract, it isn't weird. This is a relevant conversation because of all the data and things that I talked about, but this is a relevant conversation for us, and we're all about having our community heal, and just like you are.
Yes.
In the work that you all are doing. And so we're natural partners, and we would look forward to further collaboration with you all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Back to you, President.
All right, Brandon, before you go away, I just want to acknowledge there's lots of love for you in the chat, so go back and take a look at that. I think our members really got a lot of out of your presentation. I think you really spoke to the heart and soul of a lot of our members, and I just want to express my deepest gratitude for you being here tonight. One of my favorite things that you said tonight was give yourself grace. This is a journey. I loved hearing that. So on behalf of all of us at the NAACP Arlington branch, I want to thank you for being here and thank you for your time. If all of us could give Brandon a huge round of applause, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Brandon.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And Miss Tia, I want to also thank you. I know that you're brand new to your role, but like we said last night on the phone, I know you hit the ground running. And you've done a phenomenal job so far. So we're also proud of you, and you got a bright future at the NAACP.
Thank
Keep up
you.
the good work.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to shift gears, and I want to bring up our scholarship committee chair, kind of give us an update on all things scholarships. So I'm going to search for her in the membership if she's still here. Madam Secretary, do you see scholarship committee chair?
No, I do not, and I believe Miss Nightingale is no longer on as well.
Okay, gotcha. So let's go ahead and pull up our education committee chair. We're going to bring you back up to give us an update on education. See if I can find you. There you are. All right, take it away.
Okay. So over this past couple of weeks, I'm sure at least some of you have heard about the situation that happened at Gunston involving an 8th grader. A middle schooler had a game introduced with cotton being picked, and you had to do something where you pick it up and pass it on or whatever. And this child was made to feel a certain way, so he went home and shared it with his parents. And when his mom took him back to the school to get answers, basically they disregarded her, and then she brought him back to school the next day. He was then singled out and humiliated in front of his peers in the class with the same teacher who'd done the cotton game the day before. And so we had an emergency call meeting with the executive board and the family. We also then took it to media and also spoke at the last school board meeting for APS. And since then, the family has been dealing with it with counsel. And that's about it for this term.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. NAACP will continue to stand with that family until the very end. And for all of our Black and brown kids in Arlington, we will be there for them. So,
I'm sorry. And I also wanted to add that at the school board meeting, I also spoke out about the situation at Wakefield and Escuela Key and indicated we want safety for all our Black and brown students of all of APS.
Right. All right. Thank you, Madam Education Chair. I want to bring up our membership chair, newly confirmed, to kind of tell us all things membership and maybe tell us a little bit about what you got planned for this year.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Great to see everybody tonight, and it's been a great program. Well, Saturday was the first event for membership. I got to go to the Field of Heritage Festival and partnered with the fabulous Detta she was doing voter registration. And we talked to a lot of people. I think I gave out 9 membership forms, but I spoke with a lot of people who were already members of the NAACP. Some who, one family just moved here and became a member last week. So that was really great to hear. I think there are a lot of things that I have kind of brewing in my head right now, but what I'd like to sort of put out is a call to everybody here. Obviously membership can't be one person. So if anybody would like to join me, please do send me an email or a text. And I'm happy to have you join the team. So I'm looking for also information on events. If you know of an event where we should be, please reach out to me. I will make sure we're there. And also I wanted to get together some membership, gatherings at different places in Arlington so that we could, get to see each other in person and maybe greet some of our newer members. This year, of course, you've heard, I hope, that we do have a challenge from the national NAACP, and that is to increase our membership. I think their conservative goal is a 30% increase, and I think our stretch goal is a 40% increase in our membership. So that's going to take every one of us reaching out. And the slogan this year is each one reach one. So we should all make sure we get at least one person to become a member this year.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair and Madam Assistant Secretary. If there is one branch that can accomplish that goal, it's this branch. Make no mistake, the NAACP Arlington branch is one of the strongest, most engaged, most influential branches in the country. The board of directors knows us. They know the work that we're doing. I met the regional VP over the weekend, and he could not stop talking about all the good work that we're doing in Arlington. So if there's one branch that I know can lead the way, I know it's the Arlington branch, and I look forward to hitting that stretch goal and beyond. So thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate all that you do. All right, I'm going to bring up our political action chair, also newly confirmed, to tell us a little bit about what you got going on in political action.
Hello, sorry for my video coloring. Yeah, happy to share an update for the Political Action Committee. So we actually just got started with our meetings for this year just last Monday. And we've been working as a team to figure out what our priorities are for this next year. So we still have to finalize that. But, in the meantime, we still do have our ongoing kind of signature activities that we'll have going on. So Kathleen made a mention of data and our voter registration. So that's definitely going to be going strong as in every year. So we are definitely looking for members, and we're looking for volunteers as well, who might be interested in, helping us out with our activities such as voter registration. So I'll drop our PAC email in the chat if you want to reach out. We do meet once a month if you want to become a member of the committee. But again, if you just want to volunteer and participate at events, it's an opportunity that's available as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And great first meeting. I heard some really good ideas on how you want to support the branch and support the committees. And your committee is a very important committee. All of them are important. Political action kind of ties it all together. So congratulations on your appointment, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to bring up our Criminal Justice Committee Chair. Are you still with us, Madam Chair?
I am here. Good evening.
All right. I know you've been pretty busy too, so tell us what's been going on in criminal justice.
Yeah, we're very busy as usual. Still working out some of the details of the same issues that we've been working on for the last couple of years. But we have some exciting developments coming that we would like our community to be aware of and be engaged with. The main issue is that we have coming up the memorandum of understanding that is going to be executed by the Community Oversight Board, by the Independent Policing Auditor, and the county manager and representatives of ACPD. And I've checked out who's on this call tonight. So I think most everyone who's on this call is who's still with us right now has some familiarity with the Community Oversight Board, the Memorandum of Understanding as the operating document that will be sort of I keep calling it putting leaves on the tree of the ordinance. And as I understand it, the Community Oversight Board will be publishing sometime in the next week or so. It's expected in the next week or two. The draft memorandum of, well, it's pretty close. It's going to be pretty close to the finalized version of the Memorandum of Understanding. And When it is published by the Community Oversight Board, that is the opportunity for there to be public comment. It will, after public comment is received, if there are going to be whatever edits that there are, the memorandum will be put on the schedule for the county board, and it will be likely either voted up or voted down. So, and likely voted up by that point. If all the signatories are on board with it, then the county board will at that point likely move forward with it, put it in place. So I will keep your eyes open. We will, once we see it on the Community Oversight Board's website, we will circulate to membership a notification. Can I say that we'll do that, Mr. President, that will circulate notification? Yeah, this is an important thing we want the community to comment on. So we'll let you know as soon as it's published for comment. And then at that point, if anyone has any questions, I'm available to answer questions. We'll be weighing in on behalf of our membership based on the input that we've gotten from membership over the last couple of years.
All right, awesome. Don't go anywhere. Madam Political Action Chair, this would be a great way to get political action involved in one of our calls to action. I think many of us know, this branch was very influential in our police department getting body-worn cameras. We are the last major jurisdiction in the capital region to do that. And we are extremely influential every step of the way with the Community Oversight Board. And it's thanks to folks like the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. So we're getting close to being able to actually getting this out. And that MOU is going to be a critical component of that. And the county board needs to hear from you. They need to hear from this branch. So Madam Chair, thank you for all that you're doing in the committee. I know that you got your ear to the ground and you don't always get the credit that you deserve, but thank you so much for all that you do. We really appreciate you.
I reject the credit. I am merely the conduit from our membership to ACPD or to the Community Oversight Board, the IPA, and the county board.
All
but
right.
thank you.
Since I get the last word, I just want to thank you one more time for all that you do. We couldn't do it without you. All right, I'm going to bring up our Housing Committee Chair to tell us a little bit about what's going on with housing, also fully engaged. Take it away, Housing Chair.
All right, thank you so much. So as you pointed out, we've been really hitting the ground running. First one is hit on a couple of events we've hosted within the last month. So we've first done on February 8th, there was the Community Conversations event that we co-hosted with our Religious Affairs Committee. That saw, I believe, 92 people attend. It was really well received by the community. And I enjoyed being able to interact with people in Halls Hill. And from what I heard, there was a great reception and a positive feeling about being engaged in this process where we're now entering the final stage of the missing middle conversation in the county. On February 23rd, we had our Fair Housing event panel, which special thanks to Kellen Macbeth for being critical in organizing that, which saw about 87 people attend. And if you haven't gotten the chance yet, please take a look at the executive summary and submit comments for the Council of Governments report. They're taking feedback until, I believe, March 31st. So there's still plenty of time to submit your feedback, but it's critically important that people respond so they have enough data to present a really robust policy to the county. And on that, the Housing Committee will be working on a letter once those findings are completed to be sent to the county regarding the findings that were presented in that report. I think it's really important that you note that between 2010 until the current day, you saw an increase in segregation, unfortunately, across the board regionally, particularly in Arlington County as well. And those disparities were most pronounced amongst couplings of Black and white residents, as well as Black and Latino residents. So there's a lot to work on even in such a wealthy county as Arlington. Lastly, we recently, this past Saturday, had sponsored a rally in which we participated alongside our partners in Voice, EMBs of Nova, in a action of support for the most expansive version of the missing middle proposal. That went excellently, and from what I've heard, we had approximately 150 to 170 individuals who came in attendance. And this was, by the way, during the snow. We were able to get that many people in inclement weather. So I really appreciate everyone who was a part of that and being able to organize and coordinate all of our different organizations to bring out such a wonderful crowd of people. I want to touch on, lastly, the efforts that we've been doing alongside the Langston Boulevard Alliance, because planning Langston Boulevard is still critically important to what the committee does. We have a planned meeting with them tomorrow to discuss trying to include a number of community corridors that were excluded as a part of the negotiation that the county had after taking feedback over the last few months. And in order to meet our affordable housing master plan goals, we need to reincorporate that land. So we will be in communications with the Langston Boulevard Alliance tomorrow and to strategize and develop a plan moving forward. Lastly, we are working with partners at Serrano as well as Arbor Heights in order to develop a plan for a possible residence council. We've discussed it amongst the committee, and we believe that it's important that we organize residents there to have the courage, frankly, to be able to stand up and share their stories and present themselves to the county so they understand that the time is now for action and there can't be any more hesitation around this. So there's a lot going on, much to be presented in the future, and I appreciate all the work that our committee and the branch as a whole has done to contribute to this important effort.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. And second VP, I'm going to bring up our past president. I see that he joined. Before you give your remarks, I just wanted to let everyone know, and I'll bring you back up momentarily, second VP. We've brought in the Office of General Counsel with NAACP National. In the coming days, we're going to release a FOIA. We'll make sure that that gets publicly circulated once that's complete. But National has told us that they have our back when it comes to what's going on. And just like we heard from criminal justice and education and political action and all of the committees, we're really firing on all cylinders here in this branch. So more to come, stay tuned. Yeah, we're definitely gonna make sure that we don't continue another 80 years, that look like the last 80 years. So second VP, thank you for all that you're doing. And, stay tuned because there's a lot more coming. All right, immediate past president, go ahead and give us a couple remarks if you'd like, and then I'd like to share a powerful video with you all before you leave. So don't leave, it's just a couple minutes more, and then we'll be out of here.
Mr. President, I'm only going to take 1 minute at the most. Good evening, everyone. I think it's important for you, and you didn't know I was going to do this, Mr. President, but I just wanted to let you know about your president and what I've observed over the past 2 months has been nothing less than phenomenal. Your branch is in good hands. These are just 3 images. I stole them from your website, from your Facebook, Mike. But this past weekend, the county took a moment and provided a tribute to our past Vice President, Kent Carter, and our President, Michael Heminger, gave some moving remarks. He was accompanied by Kent Carter's ex-wife and his daughters, Kennedy. So we thank you, Mr. President, for that. And on the bottom of this, you'll see this photo. If you don't know who that gentleman is that Mr. President is beside, that is the young kid from Gunston. And our president took the initiative. No one told him. And there was a Virginia Black History Month gala this past weekend in Alexandria with probably 500 people there. He went out of his way, the president did, engaged the family, and brought that young Black man and his entire family to that event. That's leadership. That's empathy. That's caring. That's what this is all about. So on behalf of everyone, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. And you've been a great role model and a great mentor for me. And one thing that you said to me over the weekend, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for being with us. We're fighting for the future. I appreciate all that you do. Thank you for your time this evening. Be well, take care of yourself, and we'll be here with you. Take care, everybody. All right, y'all. I think I pulled out all the folks that aren't on the executive committee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's just executive committee members now.
Oh, okay. So is
I
that
know you said you wanted
Kathleen?
to chat with Wanda, right?
Yes, is Kathleen still on?
I am here. I am here, Wanda. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I guess I can turn my phone's ringing at the same time. Yeah, to talk a little bit about the membership numbers you asked for, Kathleen.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also that email I got.
Yeah, that email was bizarre.
Right.
But your membership is fine, and I'm getting ready to pull up the database so you can at least, you and President Heminger can see what it looks like.
Yeah, so I got something saying that my membership needed to be renewed because it had expired. And I knew it hadn't expired, so, or wasn't close to expiring, so.
Did it come from, who did it come from?
I think it came, you know, it's a good question. Who did it come from?
Looks like it came from National.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
I'm going to share my screen in one moment.
What'd you think of that meeting?
Tonight's meeting,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, a lot of programming, right?
It was superb. One thing.
Ditto, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was great. I have to say, all of the programming is really great.